Closer to home now, parents and students of Bar Colony School are getting a reprieve. The Lloydminster Public School Division will reopen discussions on the future of the school at its December 13th meeting. In a news release today, the board says it discussed the ongoing feasibility study at its meeting this week. It also looked at school community feedback. The board says it's committed to making informed, responsible, and equitable decisions that align with providing quality education while being fiscally responsible. There was significant pushback from parents when word came out the school may be closed due to the cost of repairs and other factors. 274 students are currently enrolled at the school. A much-needed renovation on one of Lloydminster's oldest structures may be on the table. The old Minster Church was discussed at Council this week. With Council's 2024 budget now fully approved, Council is looking at specific projects. One of the first ones on the list being one of Lloydminster's longest standing buildings.
It has significant history to our community. It's one of the first buildings in this community, used for a multitude of things outside being a church, but started as a church and it basically sits that way. It's had some issues that have been identified, and those issues need to be rectified if we're going to be able to let people use the church, see inside, and be part of that history experience.
However, the project is not cheap, with a projected budget of over $300,000. This project has drawn the support of the Richard Larson Bar Colony Foundation.
Now that the budget's been approved, we have a funding partner and that are prepared to have raised fundraising in the community from that perspective to help support that project.
Discussion regarding the log church restoration will return to council chambers on December 11th. Abby St. John joins me now, so she will bring us a look at the weather. And what can we expect? We saw some flurries again today.
Yes, I didn't really think that we were going to get any snow. Quite the opposite, actually. But yes, I did see a little bit of clear skies this morning when I woke up. But that clearly went away when the clouds started rolling in a little bit more thicker. And then around the afternoon, we got some flurries. It didn't last too long, but we got a little bit that stuck around on the ground, just a tad. It almost looked a little fake when I went outside to go for lunch. It looked like it was fake, but unfortunately it was very, very real. But currently we're sitting at -3. It feels closer to -7 with that wind chill. I felt like it wasn't too bad of an afternoon when I went outside, despite it being snowy. A little bit windy, so it was a tad chilly, but for the most part I thought it wasn't too cold. 11km/h winds as well. Across the region in Alberta, -2 in Provost and in Marwayne, +2 out in Edmonton, -3 in Wainwright, Vermilion and Lac La Biche, 0 out in Vegreville, -4 in St. Paul, -1 in Bonnyville, and -6 out in Cold Lake. And then on the Saskatchewan side, -6 also out in North Battleford, -4 in Macklin, -3 in Maidstone, -8 in Meadow Lake and Green Lake, -1 in Pierceland, -9 up in Isla Cross, and -5 out in St. Walburg. And then overnight tonight in North Battleford, expect clear skies with a low of -11. So it's going to be quite chilly, but with that clear sky, it should be a nice evening out. And then tomorrow, we'll have a daytime high of +1. Breezy in the morning, around 20km/h winds, but for the most part, it should be a very sunny day out, which is going to be very nice to enjoy. Overnight tonight in Cold Lake, drop down to -8. Clear skies is expected as well. 15km/h winds to go along with that. And then tomorrow, partially sunny skies. Like North Battleford, it'll be breezy in the morning, 17km/h winds, and you'll have a daytime high of +2. Overnight tonight here in Lloydminster, expect clear skies as well. A low of -8, and that wind will be at 19km/h. So it'll feel quite chilly, but for the most part with those clear skies, it should be a nice evening out. And then tomorrow we might actually get to see some sun with a high of +1. It will be mostly cloudy, but hopefully that sun will make an appearance here or there throughout the day, and it will be quite windy at 24km/h winds. Over the next 3 days, like I said, we'll have have a low of -4 tomorrow. And then on Saturday, it should be a little bit more sunnier than tomorrow with a high of +1 and a low of -12. However, it will be quite windy. And then on Sunday, we have about a 55% chance of some snow in the morning. And it will be quite cloudy with a high of -1 and a low of -7. And we have this gorgeous sunset photo from Bud Miller. Thank you so much, Bev, for submitting this. And if you'd like to see your weather photo on our show, please email us at weather@stingray.com. But that is the first look at your evening weather forecast. We'll have more news coming up after the break.
So I'm here with Deanna Wandler with the Here Comes Santa Claus Day festivities, and there's lots going on that day, and I'm new to Lloydminster, so fill me in on what's going on.
Oh, well, lots is going on. Saturday, December 2nd, downtown pretty much fills up with family and kids, and the day starts off with a pancake breakfast at the Legion, and keep in mind everything that goes on that day is free. So, and that's because obviously our sponsors, they come back year after year to help put this event on. But it starts off 7 a.m. You can come down for pancakes and sausage at the Legion, and then you can carry on your day. There's numerous events. There's a free matinee. The Grinch is going to be playing at May Cinema 6. There's many show times, so if you don't hit the first one, there's throughout the day there's more playing. You just got to go get in line and be patient. And like I said, there's many events. There's obviously the big one being Santa is coming, and along with his friend, the Grinch, they show up at 11 o'clock at the Atrium Center.
Okay.
And you can come and get in line and have your picture taken with either or. There's going to be 2 lineups. And while you're waiting, we're going to have Magnificent Mark and Sprinkles the Clown. They're going to be doing balloon animals, so it keeps the kids entertained, so you know how fun it is for them to stand in line that long and wait to get to see the big guy himself. The kids that do visit Santa will get goodie bags, and the first 300 kids to visit Santa, there's a Dairy Queen treat bag, or Dairy Queen kids meal is going to be in the treat bag, and that's courtesy of Fountain Tire. And the first 300 people to go visit the Grinch is going to, I'm sorry. The first 300 kids to visit Santa get treat bags, and the first 300 kids to visit the Grinch get the Dairy Queen kids meal. There's gingerbread house making at the Olive Tree. There's Santa's milk and cookie eating contest. It's going to take place right across from the Atrium Center. That starts at 2:30, and that's new this year. So we do have a Facebook page that if somebody can go and check it out, because we're going to be updating as up to the event and how they can join in this contest. And like I said, that's sponsored by Henka Divorce Law and Mediation, as well as the Tent Guys. There's a wiener roast. It's taking place at Synergy's parking lot downtown, the former Synergy, and the firefighters and the Fire Association will be cooking the hot dogs, and Synergy is going to be, I think, serving hot chocolate. They have in the past, so, but yeah, make your way down there for a hot dog, and that goes from 11 till 2. What else?
It really sounds like it's a huge,
huge
endeavor.
Yeah.
And whatever made you, get onto this and provide this for the community?
Well, 17 years ago, Kurt Price called me up, and at that time, he was actually working for the station here downtown, and I was with the paper, and he's such a kid at heart, and he just knew that we needed something to bring families together and to kick off the Christmas season. So we got the community together, mostly downtown business owners. The fire chief at the time was Todd Gustafson, Larry Olenek from the Furniture Clinic. We all met, and it started off very small, and it has grown considerably over the last, this is our 16th year of putting it on. We've given away trips to Disneyland. We have, we've given lots of prizes away, and we've just seen it grow. Like, I think families come from all over just to join in the day, and it's really nice to see downtown hop in, and because it really is the heart of our community is downtown Lloydminster, and it's nice to have the businesses benefit from the traffic downtown.
Great.
And like I said, this day is totally made possible because of our sponsors. They come back year after year. It's just an easy phone call, and we have people actually phoning us asking how they can get involved, and they're providing their services, or, you know, their just to get involved.
It's pretty amazing, I think, and it's one of the things that probably draws people to a smaller community like Lloydminster, because I've lived in larger cities and they don't undertake anything nearly as comprehensive, like even thinking of the kids waiting in line and having you know, things for them to do while that's going on. So it is a great thing. So again, you mentioned it's all free, so if people are looking for information, can you give us the website address so that they can have a look at that?
There's a Facebook page called Here Comes Santa Claus Day, and there's also going to be full pages in the Meridian Source newspaper in tomorrow's edition as well as next week. They can pick it up and take it with them. Outside of the day, we do have a few things going on. There's a coloring contest, and the coloring page has been posted on our Facebook page, and Furniture Gallery sponsors that. So if kids want to color the page and drop it off at Furniture Gallery, there's going to be a prize package that they can win. And outside of the day, there's also noise photography, and the Chamber of Commerce have donated one of 20 photo sessions with Santa at the Lloyd Mall, and all you got to do is email your picture in. And it could be, you know, an old picture of you and Santa, or a kid's picture from past, present, and then we just pick 20 out of the entries, and they all go get their picture taken with Santa this year at the Lloyd Mall.
That's excellent.
Yeah, but everything else just happens downtown, and they can come and wander around, and it's all, the events are all timed. So there's always something during the day for everybody. So
it'd be great to have little ones to take to something like this.
Right.
I don't have any more,
but well, I'm sure somebody might lend you some.
Yeah. All right. Well, Deanna, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you stopping in and filling us in on the event. And it sounds like it's going to be a great day for everyone. And if you just want to mention again what day it is actually happening, because it's coming up right away.
Yes, it is Saturday, December 2nd, and it's all happening downtown. And
all right,
come join us. It'll be fun.
All right, have a great day.
Thanks.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery, downtown Lloydminster.
I'm very happy to be joined here today by Tyler McMurchie with SGI. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Great to be here.
Thank you. Now, over the last month, in October, there was a lot of tickets being given out, specifically impaired driving offenses. Almost 500 tickets were given out just last month. So tell me a little bit about why that number is significant for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, we did see what we would consider to be a bit of a high number, and that's no pun intended, even though we were focusing a bit on drug impaired driving with our awareness efforts in October. But we did see 201 criminal code charges and 296 administrative suspensions. So the total number of impaired driving offenses, close to 500. It was 496. 497, I should say. Sorry.
That is a big number. And I just want to kind of focus on the 296 administrative suspensions. For people who don't know what that is, what does it mean when a person is given an administrative suspension?
So these aren't criminal code charges, which are carry more serious consequences, but they do reflect the fact that you have exceeded the legally allowable limits in Saskatchewan for either alcohol or drugs. So police will suspend your driver's license at roadside if you, as an experienced driver, for example, exceed 0.04 blood alcohol content, but are under 0.08. Over 0.08, you'd be looking at a criminal code charge. But still, for this, it's a lesser offense, but still carries some pretty significant penalties. So you've got that 3-day license suspension, and that's for a first offense for an experienced driver. It's actually a longer suspension for a new driver, like a novice or a learner. In addition to that 3-day license suspension, you've also got for a first offense, a 3-day vehicle impoundment. And so as the registered owner, you would have to pay all the towing and impound fees that go along with that as well. In addition to that, you have a requirement to attend a weekend driving without impairment course. So that's over the course of 2 days. And you do have to pay a fee for that class as well. And on top of all of that, that inconvenience of losing your car, losing your license, having to attend that weekend class, you do receive 4 demerits on your safe driver recognition. So that means either a loss of insurance discounts that you've earned through safe driving, or if you're on the negative side of the scale because you had some previous incidents, that means a additional financial penalty. So that's what all goes along with an administrative suspension. And those consequences increase if you are, as I mentioned, a new driver, or if it's a repeat offense. So when we talk about those 296 suspensions, that's actually something that we've seen an increased number of over the last few years, particularly in 2023. Those numbers have come up. And what's driving that is the increased number of people being caught using cannabis or other drugs after driving. The alcohol numbers have been relatively stable, but we are seeing more people being caught using cannabis. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean more people are using cannabis and then driving. It just means more people are being caught because police have more access to those roadside oral fluid testers, or they are more likely to suspect somebody has been using cannabis and subject them to a standardized field sobriety test. So that's where we're seeing that increase come from.
And that's crazy, especially like you said, it's not a criminal, suspension or, anything that severe, but an administrative suspension still carries a lot of weight with it. And especially if you're a repeat offender. So is there any plan on how you guys are going to kind of combat that number since it has been rising?
Well, we are doing our best to kind of make people aware of this. And it's something that we have noted, I think, in the media as this trend has kind of increased. We are, of course, always focused very strongly on impaired driving, both in the awareness work that SGI does and on the administrative side as well, but also in our work with law enforcement. And I think we're coming up on the holiday season. Of course, we just launched a new impaired driving awareness campaign, but also it's not just awareness. There's also going to be very strong enforcement. And I think people will see a lot of check stops throughout Saskatchewan, throughout the holiday season, as a very visible reminder that it is not a good idea to drive if you have exceeded the legally allowable limits of alcohol or drugs. I would also remind folks that when it comes to alcohol, for an experienced driver, the limit is 0.04. But if you're a new driver, it's 0. And for all drivers for drugs, it's also 0. So if that swab that police use at roadside determines that you've got any cannabis in your system, that means that triggers one of those suspensions. And depending on the level of impairment displayed, it can lead to further investigation that would substantiate a criminal code charge.
For the criminal code offense, what would people be looking at? Because I know there was you said 201 people were given this over last month. So can we talk about what those offenses are and what they'll be facing once they get that?
Yeah, so we'll talk first about, I guess, what is prescribed in federal legislation for a first offense for a like exceeding 0.08, for example. It's a minimum $1,000 fine, and it can go depending on the circumstances that can the judge can determine or decide that more punishment is warranted, and it's a maximum of 10 years in prison, and that's just for exceeding 0.08. Now, there are also fines for example, refusing to comply with a request for a sample. Essentially, if a police officer asks you for a breath test, you are required to submit it. And there's a minimum $2,000 fine for not doing so. So actually, the penalty is stronger in that regard. And of course, there are very significant penalties for other impaired driving offenses, particularly impaired driving causing death, impaired driving causing bodily harm, and for impaired driving causing death, the maximum penalty upon conviction is life in prison. So there is a very strong range. Now, provincially, there's also administrative penalties that go along with criminal code convictions as well. Even the charge, actually, once you are charged with a criminal code impaired driving offense, your license is suspended indefinitely until those charges are dealt with, and or you are eligible for ignition interlock. There's also a requirement for a 30-day vehicle impoundment for an initial impaired driving charge, and again, those consequences increase with if it's a repeat offense. So there's a host of other consequences as well. Very significant penalties under safe driver recognition. So the total cost, even just financially, you're looking at thousands of dollars for a charge and conviction of a impaired driving offense. One of the things that we talk about these consequences about being caught, but that's actually not the most significant consequences. Obviously, the most significant consequence is the possibility that you might be in a collision that injures or kills yourself or someone else.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I think this is a very important topic for people to realize and to learn more about. So thank you so much.
Abby, it's always great to talk to you, and thanks for the opportunity.
Crowds gathered in the UK this morning to watch the drama unfold as a worker trapped on a roof on an under construction building that was on fire had to be lifted to safety by a crane. The fire broke out at the One Station Hill development in Reading, UK this morning, with video from the scene showing smoke and flames pouring from a building and a man standing on the roof. A cheer is heard go up from the crowd as the man gets into a cage that's then lifted by the crane. The Royal Berkshire Fire and Rescue Service said over 50 firefighters were at the scene. 2 people were taken to hospital to be treated for smoke inhalation as a result of that fire.
That is crazy, and I'm glad that nobody was killed during this, and only 2 people had just to be taken to the hospital, just as precaution, it seems, for smoke inhalation. So that could have gone a lot worse.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing video.
It's great that, you know, the first responders that were on scene were able to rescue this guy, and, you know, most of his worries is just smoke inhalation, which is fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's all we have for you this evening. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Have a good evening.